Hi, welcome to our kitchen. My name's Tracy.
And I'm Briony.
So today, you're back for number one.
Yes,
great.
I am.
And number two, we are cooking golden chicken with green brown rice. It's not brown green rice, is it? Because the rice is brown. So it's green brown rice. So I'm going to start.
Goodness.
Yes, I'm going to start with the rice because
Yeah.
it's really important to get this on.
I'll just explain what we've done. We've got, because we're going to be using the green parts of the spring onion later, but the white parts we've just cooked that off in a bit of oil in the pan. And then added the brown rice and some salt and just heated it through. Added boiling water to that. Okay, and yeah, it's about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I've got the
And
timer on for about 20 minutes.
And then we're going to add some greenery to that and do some other things. Well, you're going to cook some chicken.
Meanwhile, I'm going to cook some chicken. So I've got a big pan, and once we got the chicken on and the rice done, we'll do all the chatting and tell you exactly what's happening with this fabulous dish that we've designed for you today.
Yeah.
So I've got boneless, skinless. No, I've got boneless, skin-on chicken thighs, which I'm popping into the frying pan. We'll tell you exactly why we're using those in a little while as well.
And you've seasoned those already with some salt and pepper.
Seasoned with salt and pepper. I can't fit the last one in. I'll chuck it. Oh, no, I won't.
You can squish it in. And yeah, so skin on thighs because
fat equals flavour, does it not?
yeah.
Yes. So a little bit of animal fat in your diet's a good thing. We always say this, very good for your brain. Obviously, don't go overboard with it because you don't want to be too intelligent because you might not have any friends then. right.
I'll just chop my onion.
Okay, so basically you don't want to go overboard with it because it might make your bottom and thighs be a bit fat. So just a balance. But this is how to get maximum flavour into a dish like this.
And also to keep the meat moist.
Yes.
Especially that skin and the thigh as well, because it's fat and it will baste whilst it's cooking.
Completely. And you'll see some of the fat will render out of the chicken as well, and we'll use that to ramp up that flavour even more. So it's really important to get the chicken seasoned before you put it in the pan and get the pan nice and warm. And I'm really not going to move that chicken around very much.
No, and we also had the chicken out of the fridge for a period of time before we cooked it, so it's not ice
I'm
chilled.
finding this a very east recipe.
Are you?
Yeah.
We're just standing there.
Because I'm not doing anything.
Because cooking the meat, it's really important. It's got to sit on the heat whilst I chop my onion.
Because if I keep moving that around, it'll cool down my pan a bit. I'm going to check on, I'm listening for the sizzle as well. I'm going to check on this
chicken talking to
temperature. Yeah, I'm just going to turn it up just a tweak. And this cooking starts to brown the meat. So you get that Maillard effect, which we talk about so often as well on these videos, of the browning, the caramelization of the skin and the fat and the meat to give that wonderful flavour, that base flavour to it as well. So we're cooking the meat first, we're going to take it out, and then we're going to be cooking some other bits and pieces in that.
That's right.
With the rice, I've got this on about a medium heat, and brown rice is going to take a lot longer than a white rice, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going to take probably about 10 minutes
but
longer.
In relation to the dish that you're cooking, it's about a similar time frame. So,
well, that's partly why I chose the brown rice over the white rice, because, and also you're getting a better nutritional benefit, aren't you, from having the brown, the husks on the rice with all the fibre in it as well. And we're going to add loads of greens to the rice. We're going to be adding some
broccolini.
That's beautiful.
And spring onions, the tops of the spring onions. So that's why we fried off the bottom before, because these are just going to get sort of sautéed later. And in the sauce, we've got the beautiful
the
spinach. So that's all your greenery.
One of my
for the green rice,
vegetables.
green brown rice. And then, of course, for the sauce, we've got beautiful Swiss browns, our favourite type of mushroom.
I've got the faulty tongs.
Oh, you got the dicky tongs
the naughty
that don't
one.
like to open.
That's better.
All right. So we can see on the chicken that
Turning
it's sort of
this
coming
up a little
white around the side, so that the chicken is actually cooking
Let's have a look. It's starting to brown, but that's not golden chicken yet.
It's not golden chicken. That's
a little bit too anemic looking for me. I'm going
Yeah.
to turn that up, and I was thinking that, you know, with that, the less, the sizzle, which is a bit of a lazy sizzle, really, isn't it?
a lazy sizzle. So
Yeah,
what sort of sizzle do you want? An energetic sizzle?
Yeah, quite a fast-paced sizzle I'm looking for, perhaps. So it'll happen shortly. Look at this wonderful pan not sticking.
Yeah,
Oh
well,
my
and
gosh,
that's
I
the
love
thing,
it.
having a decent pan that can hold the heat. And you said before about heating it through, making sure there's enough heat in the pan.
So it's a little bit of patience here. Glass of wine probably wouldn't go amiss as you're cooking this if it's the evening.
Yeah,
if you're pre-preparing it in the morning.
12:30.
Yeah, if you're pre-preparing in the morning, perhaps even before you go to work, just steer clear of the wine early on in the morning. So we are going to be making a sauce today. So this is a little bit carrying on from our previous sauces that we've done. We've done the pork, haven't we, with that
that
lovely
pork,
sauce.
that sage,
I can't remember what it was
onion
now.
sage sauce,
Yes.
cider sage,
Oh, that's
sauce we
right.
did.
That's right.
and
So
that was a roux base, wasn't
we
it?
used a roux for that one. Whereas here, I'm making the sauce first, making sure that I've got all those beautiful flavours in it. And then I'm going to add what's known as a beurre manier. So a beurre manier is basically the roux ingredients, but mixed together and dropped into the sauce when it's ready. So it's quite an interesting way of thickening a sauce. I love the beurre manier because you can really make the sauce. It depends, you know, when you're making a sauce, quite a lot of the time you'll have a big pan. The sauce will reduce as you're making it.
Yep.
And sometimes we can write in a recipe, you know, simmer for 4 to 5 minutes until the sauce is reduced by half or something. But if you simmer it on a very low simmer, it's not going to reduce by half.
That's right.
If you simmer it too high, it's probably going to reduce much further down than that.
So this
So you
gives you
can
the control
alter
to
it.
adjust the consistency.
Exactly.
Yes,
You can
absolutely.
alter it with the beurre manier. And it's just a very interesting thing that you can actually cook with the flour and the butter and add that at the end. Won't leave you with that horrible floury texture
Yeah.
that we don't really want
And
in the sauce.
just cutting up the mushrooms there and just brushing off. We were talking about this morning with mushrooms, just brushing them off, any sort of dirt off them. Don't wash the mushrooms.
We don't want the mushrooms to fill up with water.
Yeah, they'll be
They're
all
like
soggy.
sponges, aren't they,
Yeah.
mushrooms? That's why they
We
taste
ready?
so good in these things.
Yes.
Yum. I really want
No?
I really want a good colour, and I'm sorry, I'm going to be quite stubborn about this, that I really want to make sure. And you can hear now that
Yeah,
it's on
sizzling.
more of a
Energetic sizzle.
energetic sizzle, absolutely. So we're going to turn this over very shortly, and we've decided for the purpose of the video to add the onions on one side of the pan and push the chicken over the other side of the pan just to start off with, because we want to get the onions cooking, and they'll take 4 or 5 minutes. We're worried, or we were a bit concerned that we might run out of conversation. Said no one ever when it's down to Tracy and Brony.
Not when Tracy's around.
Oh, yeah.
But this side of the chicken's going to take a lot longer than the other side because trying to get that golden on the skin side.
And you can see it's cooking
Cooking
through anyway.
that's right.
So when we
it's
turn
very
it over,
spitty.
it is. I quite like it. It's weird, isn't it? Ow. When we turn that over, we're basically just wanting to brown it really quickly.
Yeah.
If you've got a splatter guard,
We could have got that out, but
Where is
just
it?
The bottom drawer.
oh yeah,
Bang crash. It's at the bottom of the drawer.
splatter guard, and that'll stop you splattering
If
on
it
the,
fit the pan.
stove. If you want to do it, if you don't mind washing it up. But the other thing I was going to say at this point in time is, if you are watching us live, give us a thumbs
us any
up or a
questions.
wave, hello, just so that we know that you're watching. And if you've got any questions about the dish that we're cooking today, whether it be technique or whether it be ingredient questions or asking us why we're doing something, we have the amazing
Stand away
cameraman,
from it.
obviously, at his fiddling with his equipment behind the camera there, changing from camera to camera, looking terribly professional, and he can relay the questions to us.
can.
So we'd love to hear from you. So that
and what we also enjoy after these, we do these recipes, is sometimes we actually get people send us photos of them having done the dishes, which is beautiful. Oh, that is beautiful. Worth the wait.
Worth the wait. That's golden.
That is definitely golden.
All right, can you bring over the onions, Bri?
The onions.
It's really nice and sizzly.
Yes.
I just find this pan is just an absolute darling, except for that bit there. Just leave that one. It's beautiful. Very loud, but I'm not going to shout because.
And if your pan is not as big as this, you probably wouldn't be able to get all those pieces of chicken done.
Are we showing off or what? Look at our big pan.
Yeah, look how big our pan is to be able to do that much chicken at once. Otherwise, you may have to do it in batches to get that sort of colour.
Actually, I think while you're away, we had a lovely couple come in to buy this frying pan. And they wanted it because they're eating. Could I just have a tea towel from
a tea towel? Sure.
They're thank you. They're eating. They're having eggs and bacon for breakfast every morning, and they were getting really annoyed with their non-stick pan.
Sticking.
After they've cooked the bacon in it, not being able to cook the eggs in it. I was like, don't blame you. So they came in and they bought this pan. They bought this pan over the smaller ones because they decided they could cook the bacon in, move it to one side, exactly how I've done the chicken, and cook the eggs in the same pan. They don't have to take the bacon out. It doesn't get cold while you're waiting.
When I was a kid, we would also then fry the bread in the
oh my gosh, yes.
bacon fat.
Yes.
Fried
we had
bread.
neighbours that did that, and my mum was like, no, we don't do fried bread, but I love it. So whenever I used to go and stay with my girlfriend Sophie at her house, they always used to have eggs and bacon in the morning, and they always used to do fried bread, and that was my treat. But mum bread. Mum never did really.
No treats?
Oh, she did lots of treats. But no, I don't
not fried bread.
Lots of treats, but not fried bread, because it was. I don't know. Maybe it's an English thing. It's certainly not a European thing, really. Like, well, she's Swiss Italian.
Swiss Italian.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they do that now in Switzerland on the Italian side. Who knows? Somebody might be able to tell us. Are there any Swiss people out there who used to have fried bread in the morning? So we're going to fry the onions, and I just want to make sure, that's going really nicely. Turning that up just slightly. Because we turned that chicken over as well, you could hear the pan sort of settle down into that.
Into that lazy
into
sizzle.
That more of a lazy sizzle, because we put the cold parts of the chicken.
So that was what you said, like at the start, monitoring the heat so that it's hot enough to get the golden, but not too hot that you're just going to burn the chicken.
Blacken the chicken. This dish is not called blackened chicken.
Cajun.
Could you please just pass me out the
plate?
Thank you very much.
So we've got a warm plate to put the chicken in, so it rests. And
so this is like 3/4 cooked, but we've got a little bit of colour on there.
Yeah, but it's going to go back into the sauce later, so you don't have to cook it through. And if we keep it warm, and we're going to put a little lid on the top, it will continue to cook whilst it's resting, and then you're going to have all these beautiful juices in there as well, aren't you?
That's definitely a bonus.
It's going to be the flavour.
Definitely a bonus. Now, I think on the recipe I've put, if you need a bit of extra olive oil, put it in when cooking the onions. But as you can see,
you've got a little
bit of that fat's rendered out anyway.
That's right.
I've seasoned the onions.
You have? I missed that.
Did I?
Did you season?
I think I did. Yes, I did. Because I went for the... Thank you, cameraman.
Thanks. Somebody's watching.
At least someone's watching.
Okay, so I'm just going to put a lid on this chicken.
You are.
I was all the way over here. I'll just come around and get that. That's all right. And so what's next?
Oh my God, look, I'm so messy already.
How did you do that? Mushrooms?
I'm quite happy to almost have the mushrooms.
Yeah, because I want to cut my broccoli.
Yeah. And you've got your rice has got about 6 minutes to go, coming up to 20 minutes. And I think if I was still drinking, I'd probably be on my second glass of wine now.
Yeah, because there wasn't much to do in the time where the chicken was cooking except for drink.
So, of course, when you start your first glass of wine, you're usually a bit thirsty. That's why I used to be quite thirsty. No wonder I used to get a bit tipsy.
Yeah, I was going to say, no wonder you stopped drinking.
Yeah.
It would have been fun, though.
It would have been much more sensible to drink a big glass of water first.
And did you talk more then?
I don't know. You have to ask the cameraman. Possibly.
Did you talk more?
Perhaps I.
No.
Oh, I didn't. Perhaps I talked a bit more authoritative.
No, I was going to say. No, not
let's
talk more.
Not talk about that. No, it's a bit
Okay.
boring. Okay, so our onions
these.
are. Let's
Take the
let's
mushrooms,
go back
please.
to the onions. Back to the onions and mushrooms. In go the mushrooms. Now we've chosen Swiss brown mushrooms today.
We love them. Oh,
Because we do love them because they're really
Flavour.
nice and meaty and fabulous.
Yeah.
I'm also look, you can use button mushrooms. We were discussing beforehand. Oh, we've got a quick question. We'll come back to the mushrooms.
okay, Jane has
Oh,
asked about
fabulous
skin off
question,
mushrooms, and
Jane.
no, we had a whole mushroom chat this morning.
For a tip on the Cooks
So it was
Collective.
filmed for the Cooks Collective. Do not take the skin off the mushrooms because, you don't really need to. We
don't
just give them a
need
little
to.
brush. And you've got, like most vegetables, most of the nutrition is in the skin as well.
And lots of flavour, lots of
especially
colour.
on these ones.
Yeah, especially on the brown ones and the field mushrooms.
I must admit, though, sometimes I may peel a mushroom if it's been in the fridge a little bit too long and I'm trying to revamp it.
Definitely.
The field ones, they come off quite easily.
Definitely. So no.
So no, don't
the
peel
basic
them. So thanks
answer.
for the question.
No, they're not. There's something that doesn't really get sprayed. Mushrooms don't get sprayed for herbicides or pesticides. They're grown a lot in the dark. And so, sorry, the cameraman's moving, which is very unusual.
Keep going.
So they don't really get sprayed, so there's nothing really to wash off, apart from, as Bri said, just wiping off the mushroom compost that it's actually
and
grown
it was
in.
funny because I was talking about that in a class once. Do you want to put your garlic? Oh, you waiting?
I'd love to put my garlic in, just while it's a bit big. It's a bit of a big clove, that one. Isn't it?
In a class once, somebody's we were talking about that, and she's like, "Oh, but what about all the people that have touched it in the supermarket?" I was like, "Oh, that's the same with everything, really." But yeah, I guess we do wash everything, but it's going in a pan that's super hot, searingly hot.
I don't know whether many people go around going,
feeling all the mushrooms.
Mushrooms aren't that sort of feely veg. You can sort of see whether it's a nice mushroom, can you not?
I think so.
Avocados, yes, if we were going to eat the peel on the avocados, I'd definitely say, because everyone goes around and squeezes them.
That's no good.
No. So you can see now these mushrooms have soaked up all of that delicious chicken fat as well. And so you've got to turn the heat down just a touch with this, because otherwise it's going to get too dry and your mushrooms are going to start to burn. So if we're patient with mushrooms, they may even put out a little bit of juice.
Yeah, so you can actually turn that down and sort of allow the mushrooms juice to come out.
To just soften a little bit.
But then, like when I cook mushrooms, which is every time I cook because it's my favourite, we'll have it up high for a bit first to get a bit of colour on it, and then drop it down so they can release all their lovely juices, and then continue from there.
They're such a great carrier of flavour as well. Whenever I do a long, slow cooking thing, which this is sort of based on, but it's much quicker because there's no bone in the meat, and it's not a very tough part of the animal, although thighs are really tasty. You just get so much flavour carried by everything, and I just could actually just eat the sauce and the mushrooms on their own. Forget the meat. The meat's added the flavour, but forget eating the meat. I just think this is absolutely delicious. So look, see? That sort of thing Bryony's talking about, getting that lovely colour on the mushrooms as well.
So just like with the meat getting brown or the golden on the chicken skin, it's just exactly the same thing with mushrooms or anything that you're cooking. If you brown it, you're adding to the depth of flavour.
So because this pan as well holds a lot of heat, I've sort of got to be a bit careful about how I turn it up and turn it down. So it's not like a regular frying pan that will lose its heat really quickly. It really holds its heat, and that's part of the beauty of it. So I'm going to have to get on with this sauce before it gets too dry. So the amazing thing about this sauce is we're actually going to be using a vinegar to deglaze the pan with rather than a wine. So if you don't have any wine in the house, or if you've drunk it all because you've taken too long actually cooking
the chicken, There's no wine
and
left.
you're really thirsty, then a bit of sherry vinegar. So I'm going to put in
For the cooking, not for drinking.
Yeah, I wouldn't drink this. Well, you can drink it.
Really?
Sherry, yeah, it's supposed to be quite good for you drinking vinegar.
Well, I think that was apple cider vinegar, not...
Oh, I think any vinegar.
Really?
Yeah.
And my homemade chicken stock.
Oh my gosh, that smells so good, that vinegar going in there.
Yeah, it does.
And Bry's homemade chicken stock. I've just heated this slightly, so it's going to
So just to come to the boil quicker.
a little bit quicker. So it was lovely and jelly-like when...
Was it? Awesome.
Yeah.
Sign of a good stock.
Really good.
And there's a video for that. I did a kiss video on chicken stock. So if you want to make your own, check that out on the Cooks Collective.
On the Cooks Collective. Fantastic. So while this is coming up to a simmer, Bry's got 16 seconds and I'm going to be putting the broccolini in because I'm over this side.
Don't want to
like that.
Crowd your space.
And so we're looking at the rice.
So 20 minutes in. So the rice takes 25 minutes. So we're going to put the broccolini in after 20 minutes. So it's just got a few minutes in there, 5 minutes. And then we're actually going to take the rice out and drain it, and then I'm going to cook the spinach and spring onion tops in a little bit of butter and add that through.
So as we said, we're trying to get maximum flavour. You can chuck the spinach, you can chuck the spring onions in here, like we did first, but I just felt that it was not giving it enough flavour. So yes, it was just boiling the spinach and boiling the spring onions. So I decided to change that. Sorry, just getting your sink organised so it's safe. Otherwise, yeah, it might be a bit dangerous. So this can come up to a simmer and I can actually add the meat back in because we want that to cook through as well. And you can see this colour is from all that lovely sticky stuff on the base of the pan as well. And if I can show you also that, look at all the juice in there from that chicken.
Yeah. All right.
I don't understand what the cameraman's just said.
I don't
to
know.
me.
Leave one piece out for him because he can't have...
we won't tell you. He can't have something.
He's got a special diet and can't have stuff.
Okay. So I need a special bowl for the cameraman.
Why? What is it? It's not going back in there.
I can just leave it in there. That's true.
It's very important. He didn't want his piece of chicken ruined.
Which bit do you want, cameraman?
The best
that
bit.
One. Oh.
We'll leave out 2 bits because they're cut in half.
Let's leave out 3 bits. I don't know.
Oh. Beautiful. So it's quite saucy in there now, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Quite saucy. Are you stirring? Look.
Yeah.
Look, I can't. I'm sorry, mate. I'm
going to standing here together.
I have to put one more bit in because this is actually for people who are watching this. I'm sure everyone's going, no, cameraman, take all the chicken you want because you so deserve it like that. I'm sure they're all thinking that at home. So we're going to allow that just to simmer away. This has got 3 minutes to go, and I'm going to show you how to keep nice and clean and tidy as we go along because that's really important, isn't it?
So
I'm going to show them the beurre manier. So when you're doing that,
done with this,
we can all
I'm
be
just going to clean up.
Right, yeah, that'd be a great idea.
Thanks.
That'd be a great idea. So beurre manier, it's yes, I hope I put equal quantities of. I've got unsalted butter because we've put salt on all of this. Now you may think, oh, what is she doing with her hands? But I've got clean hands, and I am mixing this up together with my fingers because it is so much easier than mixing it up with a spoon, and I'm going to drop it into the sauce as well. So what this beautiful stuff does is it will thicken the sauce. I can stop putting it in. I just need a flat whisk. That's all we're missing now, but a longer handled one. Thanks. That's for little jobs. This is a big job here, isn't it? It's a big job. So I'm going to, once Bry started cooking that, I'm going to thicken the sauce by dropping little bits in. And I just find the easiest way of doing it is using your fingers because the warmth of your fingers melts the butter and it allows the beurre manier to drop in there. That's just how we did it at college, you know. And it's just like, did you get taught the same thing? There we go. So I'm going to just move my chicken aside, getting ready. in anticipation, and I'm going to have to taste this sauce as well. It's really important, isn't it? Because we've got Bry's beautiful chicken stock in here, there is no salt in the chicken stock. So I'm actually going to turn it up a little bit. I do want to reduce it down a little bit before I add the beurre manier.
So what have you got green bits in there?
From the, I don't know.
Don't know. Oh, you used the same spoon to stir this.
Ah, did I? The
Yeah.
broccoli.
Yeah. It's all
Broccoli.
right.
That's okay. That's okay.
Green bits is fine.
We're using our Cobram extra virgin olive oil, of course. I'm going to keep
with
my
that.
Murray River salt flakes and the cracked black pepper out. Please, when you're following this recipe that is on our website at the moment and will be on the Cooks Collective forever for everybody, please make sure that if you're using granular salt, you bring the volume down if you're measuring in teaspoons. If it's in grams, you can use the same amount of grammage. But volumes, you need to bring that down. So if the recipe says a teaspoon of salt flakes, you need to halve it to half a teaspoon of granular salt. So I want this sauce to reduce down a little bit as well, to
steaming.
yeah,
Excuse
to
me.
Intensify the flavour in this as well, and that's a very, very important part of the sauce.
Excuse
and
me, I
I'm
need
looking
another
forward to
spatula.
tasting this with the beautiful sherry vinegar in, which gives it just a little piquancy, as they say in France. So in actual fact, I might taste that now. Oh my gosh, that is pretty good already. It does definitely need salt, and it also needs just that thickening of the sauce as well to really give it some oomph. That's the only word I can think of.
Another technical word?
Well, yeah, well, I just think, so a jus is great sometimes. It's a little jus on the top, but that's not reduced enough to be called just a juice. So,
No.
yeah. So here I am.
Make it a
still
bit
with my
saucy,
dirty
rather. Yeah, you're
hands.
standing there with that.
I know.
Did you want to...
If I was at home, I'd be doing that just
I
when
need
it
my
was
lid.
ready. The cameraman's laughing at me. Not that I'm
It's
going
right.
to
You
get
just stand there
an
with your hands and I'll-
inferiority
I'll walk
complex or
round you.
anything, because I've got broad shoulders.
So I've drained the rice with the broccolini there, and that's just
Yeah,
going
concentrate, cameraman.
to keep
Keep
warm.
warm.
And I have, I'm just melting some butter on this side, and we're actually just going to wilt the spinach. I love how you can have an entire bag of spinach, and then suddenly it'll be the tiniest amount in the end once you've wilted it. Now I haven't got my lid to wilt, but that's all right. I'm just going to borrow that lid for a moment, and I've
Okay.
steamed up as well over the...
So I'll just keep that closer to there so it keeps warm. How's that?
Excellent.
Do you know
This is
what? I
looking
can't
good.
work any more without cleaning that bench down. Is that a bit OCD?
A little bit.
ACDC, is it? All right. So we're finishing off now, very close to getting to the end of this meal, which should take you less than half an hour because of the chicken, because of the rice. So that's why I've said 30 minutes, and you've got this amazing flavoured dish for dinner. The time it takes to cook the rice,
Yep.
25 minutes, plus your chopping and frying of the onions should be about the same time as cooking the actual chicken dish itself. So well worth, like cooking dinner in 15 minutes is all fair and well, but you can't actually get that depth of flavour really unless you cook for a little bit longer. And half an hour in the kitchen, as I said, about 2 glasses of wine's worth, I think is definitely a you'll taste it in the result, won't you?
That's right.
That's the thing. So I'm having a look at this, and because it's wide as well, this pan just works so well, doesn't it, for reduction?
Yeah.
'Cause it's got a big surface area, so all
To
that
reduce all that liquid.
Yeah, liquid can come out. So what I'm going to do now, Bri, is start dropping. And the only thing that I find difficult with this is actually whisking
With your left hand.
with my left hand.
Well, why don't you do the butter with the other hand then?
Because I've done it already.
Okay. So
Ask a silly
do the
question.
butter with your not so strong hand.
It's quite exciting though. It is a little bit like, the challenge. The challenge of the moment. So Bryce, that's it. I reckon I've put some little bit of salt and pepper in there.
Yeah.
Look at my sauce thickening, everyone.
Wow.
Everyone, look at me.
Look at me. Look at me.
That's looking really... That smells better already as well.
It does. That's
Amazing
amazing how
sticking
it's
around.
just gone
Isn't it?
saucy in that period of time.
So I probably don't need all of this for this.
Once again, I'm looking at this going, oh, I'm going to cook that. We cook this stuff and I'm like, oh, I'm cooking that at home.
I do cook this at home.
Yeah, that's why it's here.
And I would also, like, you can put a bit of bacon in this as well when you start it off too.
Everything's
It's
better
really
with
nice.
bacon. So I'm going to put the rice back in there and mix it through.
See, I don't need all of that. I think that's beautiful coating consistency.
Yeah, so that's what we're saying, that you've got the control to adjust it to the consistency that you like. Whereas
Probably
if you've
used
got a
about
roux to start with,
3/4 of that.
it was, you may have to add more liquid if you want it.
How's your rice looking?
Beautiful, green, brown.
Well, when I first did this dish, we had 1.5 cups, didn't we, of brown rice? And
Yeah.
do you know what? I ate it and I was like, too much brown rice. So we've now just done 1 cup of brown rice. I think
Excellent. So,
a cup of brown rice and kept the
beautiful.
greens the same.
Oh, okay.
Touch more salt.
Yeah.
But it's really nice, isn't it?
It is.
Turn it off because we don't want it to reduce down anymore. Do you think a touch more salt?
I do. We always do, but
We always do that. All right. And all
we're
that-
not scared of the salt because it's the Murray River salt.
Absolutely. Not all salts are created equal, are they?
Not at all.
All
So
right.
serving, we've got that.
So I'm going to serve this up on this side. Golden chicken. And I've sort of done 3 pieces of chicken. Like, we've got 6 thighs and this is for 4 people.
Uh-huh.
So as you can see, you don't want to take the sauce down too much, otherwise you're going to
Gonna
be
coat all that
fighting
chicken.
for the sauce, aren't you?
That's right.
Oh, now that it. Have
you
you
want
got the
another?
plate?
I've got the plate.
Just like both
Oh
of
my
us holding onto the plate. Ooh.
Cleaning up.
I just want, just a little bit of
All right. So
that taste. That tastes as if it's been cooked with love.
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 Just checking that
Okay.
one. I think that's in the right spot. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. I like. You know what looks better, the chicken or the rice? They
I
both
know.
look pretty brilliant.
That's
don't they?
right.
I think anyway.
Well,
Delicious. Just trying to get this focus right for the cameraman. And I'm going to take away all this mucky stuff behind so that everyone can just appreciate our
the
golden
beauty
thighs.
of the golden chicken.
Yes.
And your golden thighs are my green rice. Green
Yes.
brown rice.
What a perfect combination
That's
that is.
right.
Made in the kitchen by Bryony and myself. So, oh my gosh, what are we doing next week, Bryony?
Lamb with romesco sauce, smashed
Love
potatoes and beans.
Romesco sauce.
So, yeah, check out that one.
We're
And
going to be
it's-
using lamb rump, aren't we, as well? Because we're
Uh-huh.
coming into spring
Yeah.
lamb time as well.
A month away.
As we film this.
Yeah. So tune in next week for that one, 12:30 on Facebook.
Yeah. Thank you all very much for watching on Facebook and on the Cooks Collective or on YouTube. And we